Snake, try to remember some of the basics of CQC.
Commencing virtuous mission now.
Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater was released in 2004. I was 16 and just left school. It was an awesome time, and I loved the game then. Obviously, that was back when Konami cared, so we'll see if they care with the remake they got coming up. Now, it looks really awesome. I'm very excited for the Snake Eater Delta. I'm crossing my fingers that they put some more extra features in, and like a cool idea I was discussing with someone, which I think would be awesome, is if they put some kind of roguelike extra mode in where you have these randomized encounters. So you, obviously all the jungle is still in sections, I believe, with this remake, and you can just keep going and you start with nothing, and then you can gain rations and food and items and all the other kind of stuff, and you just keep going, and there are boss fights and you just see how far you can keep going. I think that would be really cool. I mean, obviously it's a side note, it doesn't need it of course, but I just think that would be a really awesome game mode, going with all of the gameplay mechanics within Metal Gear Solid 3. However, if you have never played Metal Gear Solid 3, a quick rundown of the story. It's canonically the first entry timeline-wise to the Metal Gear series, even though it is the fifth game in the series, but obviously the third game in the Metal Gear Solid series. It's very confusing. No, it's not. It's the sixth game if you include Ghost Babel. Anyway, sorry, we're getting sidetracked. But the game is set in 1964 and follows Naked Snake during the Cold War as he becomes Big Boss by taking down Colonel Volgin and stopping the Shagohod, a Metal Gear precursor, if you will. Now, the Metal Gear, if you don't know, is a bipedal nuclear tank, so it can fire a nuke from any terrain, which is really awesome and scary at the same time. Of course, a Naked Snake also has to take down the boss. Now, she is Naked Snake's mentor, and she's defected to the Russian side, which you will discover why and who's on the wares. Now, this game also does feature a very young Revolver Ocelot, who is actually a really cool character within the game, and he appears multiple times throughout the game and is a boss fight. And there are plenty of other awesome characters as well. I'm not going to give it all away because I don't like to give everything. I like people to play the games that I gush about, if you know what I mean. Now, this game, I recently just played through yet again for the umpteenth time to get the achievements on Steam for completing the game without any alerts and without killing anybody, which I did, so any subsequent playthroughs I can just go nuts and kill every guard I see, because why not? That's always fun. And every time I play through the game, and just recently playing through it again, I kept thinking to myself how way ahead of its time this game is with all of its gameplay elements. The eating food, the healing yourself, which is really awesome mechanics as well. Just everything. The fact that you could knock out the guards if you so choose. You can interrogate them for information. There are a few different ways that you can tackle situations. The movement, the camo system is incredibly awesome. The only thing that has aged terribly, in my opinion, is the first-person aiming is a little bit choppy. But apart from that, the rest of the game has aged very, very well and is awesome. Now, I know the camera on the more recent HD versions of Metal Gear Solid 3 is a hell of a lot better, and the 3DS version is probably still the best version out there, because the original camera was a little bit of a dick. So I know that they've improved that. But the rest of it is just damn awesome. Like that camo system, like taking out bosses in certain ways, lethal or non-lethal, will net you like special boss camo, and you can unlock camouflage, and you can unlock an invisibility cloak as well if you complete the game a certain way, which I may or may not have just mentioned. So you can be invisible, which is really awesome. You need to be able to collect bandages and stirrups and all that kind of stuff to ensure that you can pull out bullets, pull out poison darts, or if you get poisoned by snakes or scorpions, you can heal yourself with serum. If you break a bone, you need to have a splint and bandage it up. It's a really cool feature and just adds to it because, of course, if you lose, your health will regenerate over time. You can take life medicine, which will give you back health, but that's very few and far between. You're going to need to keep your stamina up by eating, and also, if you don't eat and you let the hunger get all the way down to the bottom, your stomach will rumble and it will let guards know where the hell you are as well, which is a pretty cool thing. There's also a part in the game towards the end where you're in a cell after being tortured, because it wouldn't be Metal Gear without getting tortured. And there are multiple different ways for you to be able to get out of the cell. And you can YouTube it. There are multiple different ways you can do it. And you can have a lot of fun with it. It's pretty cool. Although I will say that the guard called Johnny, who does come and check on you, he's actually not a bad guy. He's actually a really cool dude for just a random AI guard at a jail cell, which is pretty nifty. Now, this game went all in on the CQC system, the close quarters combat, and you can pull off some really awesome moves, and you can disarm enemies and throw them and all that kind of stuff. And there is a boss fight with the boss at the end of the game, and you can counter her CQC and she can counter yours, and it can become really, really engaging and really awesome. Now, the young Ocelot that I mentioned is a massive highlight, especially with his cutscenes, because he does all the cool gun stuff, and you get to see why he becomes Revolver Ocelot, which is really, really cool. He does have a bit of a mincy roar, but then an Ocelot is a cat, so it makes sense that he does the meow thing. Now, apart from that, the boss fights are also really, really awesome as well. Like I mentioned, I did them all non-lethally more recently, but you can go nuts. There's a boss called The End who is a sniper, and you could also beat, because he's an old man and not at death's door, but you can defeat him before the boss battle. You like see him first in a cutscene, and when the cutscene ends, he's there in a wheelchair, and you can snipe his face off and kill him immediately, and there's an achievement for that. But also, back in the day with the PlayStation 2, if you just left it for a few days, because obviously the PlayStation 2 you could put the date and the time in, or if you just went into the options and just set the time forward by a week, I believe, the End will be dead. He'd have died of old age. So you can go to him, shake him down, get his Moistened Nagant, or however you pronounce it, his tranquilizer rifle, and do it that way. You can hold him up, you can kill him, you can not. This game is just amazing with all of the different gameplay elements that are put in. Towards the end of the game, there is a little bit of an escort mission, which isn't too bad. Just trank the guards that are following you, really, and just keep luring Eva towards you. And you do have to feed her as well, otherwise she won't move, because apparently not eating for 3 minutes is a big deal for her. But I just really hope that the Snake Eater Delta remake does really well, and they give that treatment to Metal Gear Solid, or over Twin Snakes, which is the remake of Metal Gear Solid, which is exclusive to GameCube, unfortunately. And they give that treatment as well to Metal Gear Solid 2 and Peace Walker as well. I think Peace Walker would be awesome to have a proper upgrade as well. I think that one more so should, because that's obviously next canonically after Metal Gear Solid 3, so hopefully Peace Walker gets massively upgraded. I think we're going to be getting Metal Gear Solid 4 soon, ported, finally. It won't just be locked straight to PS3. And Metal Gear Solid 4 is also really awesome and plays with some adaptive camo, which is really, really cool. I have not played that game in over 10 years, and I don't have a PlayStation 3 anymore. And although I know you can get some backup copies of it, it's a bit shifty with the way it works, and the PS3 emulation is always a pain in the dick, so I'm just happy to wait. Konami have pretty much acknowledged that they are going to be releasing it, although they haven't officially said it, but they basically did say it by not saying it, if that makes sense. But if you are thinking of picking up the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection, do it. The Metal Gear Solid games, all of them, are just way ahead of their time, and the gameplay mechanics and just everything in these games is just so damn awesome, and you can see how Hideo Kojima was just a mastermind of what he did. Can the Metal Gear Solid series continue without him? Of course it can. Whether it be as good or not it remains to be seen, but if they get somebody who's equally as talented and as passionate, and, well, not necessarily equally, but somebody who is just very good at what they do, you can make some really awesome Metal Gear games, and that is what I hope they do. We need more Metal Gear. Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain is an unfinished game, but for an unfinished game, it is phenomenal and has more content in that than most games coming out today. And Hideo Kojima couldn't even finish it because Konami wanted money. They wanted it rushed out the door, and they split it into they chopped off the prologue with Ground Zeroes and wanted to sell that separately, and then you know, then Phantom Pain the year after. So Konami have been walking a very, very, very dangerous path lately, but they seem to be coming back. I hear the Silent Hill 2 remake is really awesome. I haven't picked it up yet, but I will do eventually. I'm currently replaying through The Witcher 3 again, and some other games, and sorting out some other videos for you guys to watch so we can talk about gaming more, because talking about gaming is awesome. But please let me know in the comments down below your experiences with Metal Gear Solid 3 or any of the Metal Gears. And as always, thank you very much for watching.
A great success. Thanks to the boss and her Cobras, I have both Sokolov and the Shagohod.
What are we going to do with the girl?
Who is she?
Apparently she's Sokol.